the meeting, just so you know. And once we break for questions, I'll go ahead and shut the recording off so that you don't have to have your questions recorded. But I'll just start off by introducing myself. My name is Jeannie Anderson, and I have been teaching at the Chicago School for 7 years. In that time, I've seen 3 different learning management systems. So Canvas is relatively new to me. I've only been using it for about a year, and I don't use it extensively, so I still feel like a newbie. And the course has also received many revisions. I think I've taught this version of the course. This is probably my 3rd semester teaching this version, so I'm also pretty acquainted with the new version of the course. I love teaching this class, and I really do wish that every Chicago School student had the opportunity to take it. Even the best writers struggle in some areas, and to be honest, I've learned a lot about grammar and APA style and teaching writing in general just from facilitating the seminar and from working closely with students. So it's been a good experience for me. A little bit about my background. I was a journalism major at Illinois State, and I received my master's degree in writing from DePaul University. And I also have a certificate in online teaching from the University of Illinois through a program called Illinois Online Network. I've been teaching for 15 years, and I've been working in distance learning for the majority of the time I've taught. I currently teach at 3 other community colleges in the Chicago area, and most of my teaching takes place online. It's kind of what I do. Right now I have classes going on at 2 different community colleges in addition to this one, so that keeps me busy. Before teaching, I worked in publishing. I did some event planning for a not-for-profit organization, and I also worked in corporate communications. And I've been married to my high school sweetheart for 18.5 years, and on top of that we dated for 8 years. And we have 4 children, all of whom you could hear at any moment. I will warn you, my husband is out of town, and so you are the only adult conversation I will have had for today. So I hope that doesn't scare you. I won't keep you on too long just because I'm starving for some adult interaction. But my son Alex is 12. He just finished his first year middle school, and he has mild autism. He's a fascinating child. And then my daughter Jory, short for Jordan, she's going into 3rd grade. And then my husband and I, we always said that we would have 2 kids, and after that we would adopt if we decided to have more. And so just recently we became licensed foster parents, and we welcomed 2 little girls, ages 7 and 6, into our home last February. They were 2 sisters that were separated, and they were brought together under our roof. So it's been a really busy 4 months for me. Our family's active in our church, and so we really felt called to become foster parents as a way to live out our faith. So that's just a little bit about the person behind the canvas. I'm going to just go over a little bit about the academic writing seminar. Again, my name is Jeannie Anderson, and you can see right here is my contact information. The easiest way to contact me is through Canvas, and any email you send me through Canvas also goes to my email, my Chicago School email, so I get it in 2 places. And actually I get it in 3 places, because anything that goes to Chicago School email gets forwarded to my personal account. So I always know when one of my Chicago School students is looking for me. I can't always respond to you right away, especially because right now I use too much of my data, so my internet is shut down on my phone. Long story. But I will hear from you almost immediately when you send me an email. And you see my little heart. I love online learning. So we have somebody here who's doing what they enjoy. Okay, so why are you in this course? You see, we've got all kinds of, I don't know which one of these faces most resembles yours when you opened up the letter that said that you were in this course. Some of you may be surprised that you were placed here, and some may have been offended or felt angry that you have one more thing on your plate this semester. And I totally understand that line of thinking, and I might feel the same way in your position. However, I hope you'll look at this class as an opportunity to sharpen the skills you already have. Academic writing is its own genre, and in this seminar we'll examine the specific rules of that genre. So even though your placement in this class doesn't mean you're not a good writer, it just means that there are certain skills within the genre of academic writing that you may need to brush up on. And so we'll do that. Okay, grammar and foundations in writing are taught in elementary school, of course. But I've learned from many of my undergrad students that a lot of grammar, punctuation, and style skills that are taught early on aren't usually covered in high school, and even once they reach college, they're expected to be proficient in grammar and style, and yet it's not taught in high school and undergraduate education. And this is true for graduate level writing as well. For example, I remember my first semester in graduate school. Here I am, a writing major, and I failed my first paper because I had forgotten a lot of the fundamentals of academic writing. And I was totally devastated, and of course it was a humiliating experience. How dare my teacher think my writing is that awesome. But my instructor gave me some guidance, and I relearned the conventions relatively quickly and was able to succeed in his class. So some of you might just need a brief refresher to get some of those skills in place. This class gives you an advantage because you're using the skills we reviewed in this class throughout the rest of your graduate or doctoral program, as well as in your profession. So everything we cover in this class are things that they will continue to come up in your writing life, and so this is a place for you to hone those skills. I hope that you'll view this class as a workshop. The assignments in many ways are tailored specifically to your needs. And this is an opportunity to sharpen your skills and ask questions. My role as a facilitator is to consult with you on your writing habits, and that's what I'll do. Okay, so the academic writing course or seminar, they've changed it, is a 7-week, 7-module online workshop. There is a textbook, just one, and you won't be wasting your money on it because you'll, again, need it throughout your entire program. And that's the publication manual of the APA 6th edition, which was published in 2010. There will be short lessons for you to read on important topics, and then you'll study these lessons and you'll practice these lessons in the assignments. So let's take a quick look over at Canvas. I'm going to move this over and just get right in here. I think I opened the window elsewhere, so it's just as easy to log in. Okay, so you go into the Canvas course, and you can see right when you go in, there's an overview for you to refer to, as well as the textbook links, information about assignments and due dates. For the grades, one thing I want to point out is that you'll receive 5 to 15 points for each assignment, with the opportunity to earn up to 80 points throughout this entire semester. And in order to complete the course with a passing grade, you need to do 2 things. You need to first submit all of the assignments, and then also to earn at least 60 points. And that says 75%. I actually thought it was 80%. So I'll have to look into that. But 60 points. Yeah, 60 points is 80%. I'm no math wizard, but I think that's correct. Okay, so just I'm going to take a quick look at the learning objectives. The first is to become cognizant of the differences between the processes of thinking, speaking, and writing, and how these differences are reflected in the products of the three processes. And that just speaks to being a better thinker, speaker, and writer. This can only benefit you. And although these three are different, they aid each other as a skill set. The next learning objective is to learn to translate complete thoughts into complete sentences and how to enhance the reader's comprehension by varying sentence structure. The goal in academic writing is to be as clear and concise as possible, and you'll want to use precise and specific words to convey meaning. You'll need to plan your writing in advance, and you should not think, compose, and edit your work in one sitting, but instead you want to get in the habit of spending time thinking about what you want to write, and then making notes or using other pre-writing strategies, drafting your response maybe in a different session, and then stepping away from your writing and going back to it later for the final edits. I know with your crazy lives, that's really hard to do because sometimes you're pressed to get an assignment done like tonight, and you don't really have the time. But if you can work that kind of time into your, for this, not only this class, but for your other classes, so that you can kind of think about what you're going to be writing about, draft, and then go back and edit in 3 separate sessions, you'll see a vast improvement in your writing right there. So the final stage in writing is to do your final edits, and that's really just looking at your writing for sentence structure, grammar, and mechanics, and having a fundamental understanding of punctuation, specifically semicolons and commas, will also help enhance clarity. Commas and semicolons aren't just about rules. They really are there to aid the reader in clarity. And so you want to think about things like, are you using them correctly? Are you overusing commas? Some people are like serial comma users. Are you using the exact same sentence pattern repeatedly? You might want to think about, not only varying the length of your sentences, but the way you begin them and end them. The goal is to understand all these kinds of concepts that we're going to go over throughout the course so that you can apply them to your own writing. Okay, the next learning objective, become cognizant of the relationship between complex thoughts and complex sentences and learn how to create outlines in basic sentences. A basic sentence is basically a sentence that just has the subject and the verb. It's just down to the bare bones. And all other additional details in a basic sentence, whether it's a prepositional phrase or an adjective or adverb or something else, these kinds of details are left out of a basic sentence, and the goal to outlining in basic sentences is to get a fundamental view of the flow of ideas that you have on a paper so that you can see where you're lacking and where areas that you need to strengthen. And so we'll practice that skill down the road, I think in maybe week 3 or 4. Learning techniques for composing descriptions and arguments is the next learning objective. And then learning to distinguish between points of view and perspectives in writing and to acknowledge them appropriately. And learning techniques for avoiding unwitting plagiarism. So unintentional plagiarism is a problem that you want to avoid. And there is a really helpful lesson that will help you better understand what plagiarism is. I found over the years that many students have misconceptions about what does and does not constitute plagiarism. And as the use of internet has become more prevalent, as well as the whole idea of copying and pasting information from a variety of sources across the web, the idea of plagiarism becomes even more and more skewed in the minds of students. And so we'll make sure that you have a clear understanding of that. We'll review the relationship between meaning, structure, and punctuation, and learn how to use punctuation marks appropriately. And not just using them properly, but using them effectively. Sometimes a period is more effective than a semicolon. It's not just how you use the device or if you use it correctly, but it's how well you use it to convey your ideas to your readers. And then the last learning objective is to learn how to evaluate your thesis and argument and how to address possible objections to your thesis. In graduate school, you're constantly going to be defending your arguments, and being able to argue effectively is an asset in your field. So we want to be able to form good thesis statements, to analyze our arguments, and to address the opposition. So these are all parts of the class that we're going to explore, and hopefully you'll walk away with a solid understanding and some great skills that you'll be able to apply effectively. All right, the next thing I want to do is we're going to review the modules. And actually, before we do that, I want to show you this Prezi that I created. I don't know if anyone has ever used Prezi before, but it's a great tool. So you can open the Prezi site. We'll do it the old copy and paste way. Of course. You guys are all still there, right? Yeah. I'm not sure why this is having a problem. I'm going to try one more. Make sure I don't have it open elsewhere. I thought I did, but I don't. Well, what I'll do then is I will Michelle? Well, we're recording. I'm not sure if I still have an internet connection. And that's going to be a problem. Here we go. Okay. You guys still there?
Yeah.
Did I lose anybody?
Yes, we're here.
Okay.
Here.
Sorry, it looked like for a minute there. It looked like my internet connection went down, and it's storming over where I am. So I didn't know if I lost you and you had been whited out, or, but I guess not. Okay. So I'm going to go on to the Prezi to kind of basically this is cloud-based presentation software that allows you to put everything into one easy to look at chart. And so you can see I've got the building of the 7 weeks, and then during week 3 and week 6 we've got the individual assignments. So I'm just going to quickly go through and give you an overview of the course. For week 1 you're going to read lesson 1 about the difference between speaking, thinking, and writing, and then write a 300-word reflection essay. And that's the most actual writing you'll do in the course. The rest of it will be editing your work. The next week, you're going to identify and paste 5 to 10 sentences or thoughts that don't follow the golden rule of clear writing, which is lesson 2. And then you're just going to revise those sentences to make them more clear and concise. So it's basically an editing exercise to help you take sentences that you know you've written that have problems and work on making them better and then getting feedback on that. Week 3, you're going to take an essay and you're going to outline it in basic sentences. And there's, of course, a lesson to talk more about how to do that. And then there's also individual assignment 1. I will, by the end of this week, I will email, or actually I'll upload them onto Canvas, your individual assignments. And don't panic if you see a lot of check marks on there. For things for you to review. There's a lot of stuff in there that I think it's just really good for you to review. But basically, my attitude towards the individual assignments is that I'm going to give you suggestions on things that I think you might need to work on or that you might want a refresher on. And then you're going to look through the things that I've checked on that checklist, and you're going to prioritize them and do as much of it as you can. Ultimately, what you're going to turn into me is a 2 to 3 paragraph journal that talks about your process. You know, what are some of the things, the highlights of your experience, some of the things that worked really well for you, some things that you've discovered you need to work more on. That's the information that I'm looking for. And obviously, you know, in grad school, we give you tons of stuff to read, and sometimes, I don't know about you, but I was given more reading than I could even possibly do in a week. And so I had to prioritize and do as much as I could. And so that's all I'm really asking you to do when you do the individual assignments. Week 4, we're going to use track changes to edit an essay to make it more persuasive by applying principles of association and logic, which you'll read about in one of the lessons. And then you'll describe what you did and why you made those changes. We'll be more than halfway through the course at that point. Week 5, you're going to practice APA style using track changes and edit. And you're going to look for things like third-person language, APA style, gender-neutral language, active voice, and how you acknowledge your sources. Week 6, you're going to use track changes to carefully proofread an essay, focusing on punctuation. Or you'll pick 5 complex sentences that you've written in an essay and explain why you think the punctuation is correct. Week 6, you'll also have the second individual assignment, which will be much like the first. And again, you might use the same writing sample throughout the semester, or you might switch and use different writing samples. You are free to use your assessment essay, but I kind of ask that that be a last resort. If you have something else, especially something you're currently working on, it's really better to use your coursework for the class. The assessment essay is there for you to use if you have nothing else to refer to. And then the last week of the semester, you're going to submit a piece of academic writing that's between 2 and 4 pages. That you've edited so that it reflects everything you've learned in the course. So you'll examine your introduction, make sure you have clear organization, make sure that you follow principles of association and logic, take a look at your conclusion, are you using formal language and avoiding colloquialisms, have you followed the golden rule of clear writing, is your punctuation correct? Is it inclusive? Is your writing inclusive? Are you consistent with APA style? Have you paraphrased and quoted appropriately? And have you formatted your paper in APA style? Now, I know this sounds kind of silly, but every assignment, oh great. Oh, of course, that's my husband. Gotta love it. Okay, I'm gonna try to shut this off. Okay, I got the volume off in here, so you don't have to listen to that. Sorry about that. Oh, now I lost my train of thought. So anyway, for every assignment that you do, you should have a cover page, even if it's just a few sentences. The instructors at the college have asked that everybody walk out of this class really having a firm grasp of all those little formatting nuances. And so we'll require that APA style in all your assignments, great and small. So you can always refer back to this Prezi. I will post the link so you can kind of look back at it if you need to. And then I'm just going to take a quick look through the course modules, and then we'll be done. So if you click on modules, you'll see that there are 7. And you can see that they're all consistent. They have an overview, a list of 1 or 2 lessons, and then the assignments through the end. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll back up to overview 1. So for next week, you're going to, you're going to study lesson 1, reflect on this assignment, and then complete a writing assignment. If we click on next, here's the lesson. You can see the lessons aren't terribly long. This is just a few paragraphs to read. And then it gives you the assignment. And if you click over, writing assignment 1, the first thing you're gonna do is download the written assignment table. So if I click on here, I'll see everything. Everything just opens up differently. Okay, so here is the table that goes to the differences between speaking, writing, and thinking. And then there's also a short video that's 4 minutes called Want to Write Well, Learn to Write Badly. So if you'll watch that, and then take what you've learned from the both of those items and write a 300-word essay. Tell Dad I'm calling back. Okay, tell him I'm calling back, okay? Thank you. So you'll write a 300-word essay, and you'll just focus on 1 or 2 experiences that demonstrate the difference between these 3 processes. So here are instructions, submission instructions, and so you'll upload those, and then I will, as they come in, I'll grade them. Sometimes it depends on what my grading week looks like. If you turn something in early, I try to look at early assignments right away. I don't always get to, though. But I do plan on, this class has Sunday night deadlines at the end of the day. And so what I'll do is Monday morning I'll download your assignments. And actually, once I run a couple kids to daycare and 1 to summer school and the other 2 to swim practice, I'll sit down and do some grading, and then I'll get feedback to you hopefully within the next couple of days. If you're going to be late, I don't have a problem with that. The problem comes when you disappear and there's no plan. So if you think you're going to be a day or 2 late on the assignment, just send me an email to let me know what's going on and when you think you're going to get it in. And I highly recommend not getting more than a week behind in the course. It goes by quickly. I know things come up. I know there will be certain weeks where you're working a lot, or you have a lot of other things that for your credit classes, your graded credit classes that you need to give priority to, and I understand that. I just ask that you keep the lines of communication open. Okay, so that's what Module 1 looks like. And then you'll see the individual assignment is posted basically every week, but the deadline is July 26th for the first individual assignment. So it'll show up every week, but it's more of a reminder. And again, I will send that information to you through Canvas. And let me know if you have trouble accessing it. I don't have a student view. I think it just pops up where it's pretty obvious to you that you've received it. And I'll send out an email letting everyone know to check for it. And then you can let me know if for some reason you didn't receive it, and we'll go from there. So I think that is, yeah, that's everything I had to talk about. So I'm going to stop the recording